Ever struggled with writing long XPath or CSS selectors just to locate a nearby element? What if I told you there is a way to locate element just by saying find the below input label or find the button near this field? Welcome to Relative Locators, a game-changing feature introduced in Selenium 4. I am Sudhanshu from Learn with Psudo, and in today's video, we are going to master Relative Locators step by step and with real HTML examples. What are relative locators? So relative locators is a Selenium 4 feature that lets you locate element based on their visual appearance, like above, below, left of, right of, or near to a certain field. This makes the automation script simpler and more human readable. Now in this demo, we are going to work on a page which I have designed specifically to practice relative locators, where the fields are next to each other or above and below, a perfect example to practice relative locators. So we are going to take example on below, above, left, right, near, and combine multiple locators. I'll also give you a suggestion on how you can search for XPath and CSS selector if you are not just going to do the Control F way, and if you are going to use the developer console, right? So let's get started with what we are targeting for today. So the first one that we are going to talk about is a new keyword called locate with. It is from the relative locator class in Selenium. So you have to import locate with, and we are going to frame an example on how we can locate an element using relative locators. So the first one we are looking at is above. For a relative locator to work, you need to give a field reference. So what I will target is, I will first inspect this. I want to find this label or the text of this label using this field's reference. So let's first inspect this element, and it says the ID is email input, right? So what I'm going to write here is, I'll say email underscore input is equals to driver dot find element by using ID, and I'll paste the ID. All right. So this is email. I know a particular reference to this input box, or I know the path to this input box. Now using this input box, I want to find which is the label above it. Okay. So what we are going to write is, let's take another variable. We'll say email underscore label, and we'll give this as, again, driver dot find element, and we are going to use our new keyword. We'll say locate with, and we will say by. I say I just want to know the label, right? So I can use tag as well. So I'll just say by tag name, and I'll say label. And where is this label? This label is dot above, and above what? It's above the input label, right? Driver. All right. So we have located a label which is above my input label. And similarly, what I want to do here is, I can do a print. I'll say email label is email label dot text, but let me give a meaningful output here. So I'll say the label above the email field is, and the text of that particular label, right? I can also go with the highlight that we had already written earlier, right? So what I want to do, I want to blink it. So I had tweaked the highlight example a bit. Now it doesn't go away after your execution, but the highlight stays even after your Selenium has exited. All right. So which element I want to highlight? I want to highlight my email label. Now let's go ahead and run this first. Let's see what happens. Let me comment everything else. Right. So it opens your browser. It will maximize the browser, and it is highlighting the label above the email field. So I didn't give a direct reference to email, but I relatively located it using the fields reference. Right. So this was pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Now, towards the end, we are going to talk about where we have to use this and where we have to skip using these. All right. So on the similar ground, we have below as well. I have listed it here. So using a field reference, I'm again finding the input box, which is below the input, the email input. So it's just using a different keyword dot below. Now on the similar concept, we have toLeftOf as well. And this is again, okay, toLeftOf. No, this is not the right one. It should be dot to underscore left off. Yep. So this is my function to the left of a particular input box. And again, using the right as well. So this is also to underscore right off, to underscore right off a particular field, right? So these are all almost the same concept, just the syntax is the syntax is the same, just the keyword that we are using is different. So I'm skipping explaining all of these. These are just one line codes. Okay. Now the next one that we can talk about here is using near. All right. So if you want, we can execute this all at once, but I'll do it with near, right? Near works similar to how we had seen earlier examples, but the only difference here is it's not going to search for elements which are quite far from your source. Okay. So if I say my field is this right field and I want to search a email right here, right? It would not be able to. It just searches for an example, or it just searches for an element which is more or less like 50 pixels away from the particular element. So let's take both the examples here. Let's first uncomment this. So this element, we are trying to search for a button which is near the reference field. Okay, so this is my reference field, right? If you inspect this, this is my ID near ref, and I'm trying to search for a button which is near this, right? Right. And what we are going to do here is email field is equals to, for email field is equals to, on the similar line, I'm just going to use the same, but I'm going to change, instead of tag name, I'll give ID, and the ID would come from here. This input ID, yeah, here. Okay. You should search only within the 50 pixel boundary that is set. But this input is not within that 50 pixel. Let's see if this works or not. So again, if it is found, what I want to do, I will blink it. All right. So let's run this and see what happens now. It opens. Now this is the above example. This is the below example. This is the left, right, and this is the near example. Now let's see if it has searched for the particular object or searched for the email that we were looking for. It says cannot locate element with the particular element that we have given. It says no such element exception. The reason is we had discussed this, right? So because it is not within that 50 pixel scope, it is not able to search for it. So when we were trying to script it, we had scripted it considering, let me just remove this code. We don't need this now, right? So this is throwing an error. But here we wanted to click the button which is right next to this particular field, right? The nearest one. So we were assuming that it would click this particular click button, but this clicked on the submit button. Why was that? Now, to my understanding, or how I can relate this, is when Selenium tried to find a particular element, it calculated the distance from this particular field to the next element where it was trying to search, right? So in a way, the page was rendered, so it had assumed the submit to be nearer to the reference field starting point when compared with the click button, right? So it found submit to be nearer to this particular field. So this is, I'm just assuming this one. Okay, I'm also not very 100% sure about it, but I think it works this way. So I'll leave this question open to you guys as well. If you are aware of how this happened or how this works, drop a comment and I will go through it. Let's keep that information shared among all of us. All right, so moving on to the next topic that we have for today. So we are looking at combining multiple locators, okay? Or let's call it chaining. Let's comment everything else. So what chaining is, you can actually use two fields references. Let's build an example. Let's say I have this button and I have this label. Using these two references or the fields, or using these two as the reference, I'll find the reference field which is in between these two, right? So let's write a Selenium script for it. Let's find this first. So this is what inspect. This is, all right, this is near button. So I'll go here. I'll first say label score left is equals to driver dot find element, and what using what I will use the CSS selector, right? So let's use by dot CSS selector, and in value I want a label, but it is for, what was the value again? Near ref, right? So let's do it here for, or in this I'll just paste it, close the square bracket. This is done, right? This is one element which is found. The second one is this button. I'll again inspect. Where is this button? So it says ID, right? It has an ID, easy for us to locate. We'll say button right is equals to driver dot find element by, instead of tag name, I just want by ID. The value is nothing but btn near. Now, when we wanted to chain, what we are going to do, we are going to say field underscore selected is equals to, we'll say driver dot find element, and we'll say locate with, right? And what I want an input. So this is fine. Locate with an input which is to the right of left label, and which is also to the left of, what is that? Button right. Clear? Close the brackets. So this is the button that I have selected right now. Now again, I am going to say blink it. Instead of this is driver. Let me comment this one. Let's run this, what happens. All right, so maximized. What happened? Did it search for it? I think there is an exception. What is the exception? Search no such element exception. Did we write something wrong? Oh, I forgot to remove this. This should have been by CSS selector, right? Let's run it again. Maximize. All right. So you had seen here what we were trying to demo is using chaining concept. We were able to locate an element, all right, which is between two fields. These relative locators are an easy approach to locate elements when you don't know the actual object's attribute, right? But if your layout is responsive, so these concepts might break, or these locators might break, because if it is responsive, it is going to be different in tabs, different in mobile, different in a web. So it's advisable, or it is a good approach if you are going to use the ideal locators that we had seen earlier. And few best practices that I have written here is use relative locators for temporary locators like onboarding screen or something like that when you are getting your application fresh, right? Combine it with wait until for dynamic elements when you scroll through a page and you are expecting an element to appear. So if you directly use this, it will not find it, and it's always advisable to use it with wait until. Okay, and don't overchain it. All right, so this was one thing, and the next one that I have for today is using the Chrome DevTool for searching your XPath and CSS. Let's say I have this field and I'm inspecting this. If I go here and copy, I'll say copy XPath, right? And I do a control F, control V. So this idly has just one of one, which is listed here, right? So this is not a problem to identify, but in certain scenarios where you have multiple objects or where you see multiple elements listed in the search, there is one more way where how you can find this. You have to go to your console, and here by default, if you try to paste, you won't be allowed to paste. Just you have to write allow pasting. Hit enter. This will allow you to paste. Now you have to write $X. Okay. Open a bracket, give a quote, paste whatever XPath you have copied, close it, close the bracket, hit enter. You will get the input whichever is highlighted using this XPath, right? So if you see here, it highlights this particular input. If you click on, it will take you to that particular input. If you want to do it for CSS, like let me copy the CSS we just had here. So we had this label. So here also, you just have to write document dot query selector. Where is that? Query selector. Open bracket, give a code, paste, it's closed. Hit enter. It would again give you the label that you are referring using this particular CSS selector, right? So this is pretty neat rather than if we had seen in earlier examples, right? When we were trying to search for here, if this particular thing that we are trying to search here was written on the screen itself, like in my previous examples, I had demoed you. Let's go there. Main page, XPath locators. I have this XPath written here, right? This will also search for this particular field. So if I paste it here, it says 2 of 2, right? This is a bigger one. Let me take a simpler ones for the for explaining this. This is a straightforward XPath. Let me take this. So this is one where it is highlighting the text of it, but I am not interested about the text. I am trying to search for a field, right? So this is my field. Now if I go to the console, if I again just say $X, paste it again. Just be careful while you are pasting because these XPath will also be having a quotes. So my approach to it is, if it is having a single quote, I would start with a double quotes. If my XPath has a double quotes here, I would start with a single quotes so that it doesn't get skipped. All right, if I hit enter, now if you see here, it clearly highlights only just one field. If you click on this particular line where it says 0, if you click here, it will directly take you to the line of code. Now what happens if you are not able to find the element? So if you say $X, again use the same XPath, but I'm going to make some changes here. So it's going to return you null if it is not found. So I just made a change. I think I don't have any field with this name, but let's see what it returns. Yeah. So if I hit enter, it says null. So it's not able to find anything, right? All right. So that's all I wanted to talk with you on relative locators and using the dev console in Chrome. If you like this video, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, spread this video among your friends, and don't forget to check our blogs as well. It's hosted on our website, Learn with Psudo. You go there and you just have to click on blogs here. So whatever we are discussing here, I am trying to maintain a blog of it so that you get a text reference to it whenever you want. You don't have to come to the video again and again. All right. All right. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Keep learning and stay curious. Bye-bye.